daisy. So very important plant that has come over with our ancestors and offering nectar for our native bees. And this whole grass area, hopefully what we're seeing in our grasses is that diversity of plants. So we could have English daisy, dandelion, chickweed, plantain, yarrow, all these beautiful weeds in amongst the grass so that we're feeding all these insects. When it's just grass, it's like a dead zone. It's like a desert. There's nothing there for these insects. And knowing more about the native bees is native bees don't travel long distances. They travel certain distances from where they actually hibernate. So when we have this diversity, then we're going to bring that population up. And what we've now discovered through science is if we lose our insects, we actually lose us. So really important time to think about that diversity. And remember, we've been imprinted or programmed that a lawn, this beautiful green lawn, was about status. Now we can change that narrative and we can say, no, I'm about life. I'm about making sure that everybody's here with us, right? And you know, I remember as a kid when we go under the street lamps up in Squamish, we'd see all the bats underneath there. So I'm not seeing the bats here in Vancouver. That is a sign of a strong ecosystem when we have that. So again, it's just bringing back that awareness and that understanding. So the English daisy is a food, it's a medicine. I can harvest those flowers, I can infuse it in oil. It'll be good for my muscles like arnica, so help with my pain relief. And then what we can also notice here in this circle, it's kind of a funny thing, that in here we have this plant called yellow dock that's growing. And knowing when to harvest plants is always important. So the second year growth is when I would harvest the root. And this is probably a first year because I'm not seeing the stalks from last year. And what I'm going to do is dig up that root and put it in a vinegar, and I would extract out its mineral content. And yellow dock is very high in iron. So how many of us women are on that edge of anemia, and where we could come and do a harvest, dig up these roots, infuse them in a vinegar that extracts out those minerals that then also feed our endocrine system, so our hormones. Right, and that helps us to stay more balanced. And I could cook up the leaf here. It is high in oxalic acid, so I need to, change that water once at least. So I want to at least steam it twice. And oxalic acid we find also in kale. So don't overeat your kale because it might actually be, be damaging to your kidneys or irritating your kidneys, right? And then it's that reminder. Oh, we eat through the season, right? So we can have kale year round. We can have strawberries year round. We can have apples year round. But it's actually foods that we have through its seasonal harvest, right? I love pomegranates. When pomegranates come, I just eat them because they're in season. But now if I go and get a pomegranate one that costs way too much money, but they're out of season and they're not as vital. Right? Because I want the food when it's at its height, that vitality that's going to really feed me. Now, what I would also mention is know the history of your site, because if there have been poisons put here, the poisons will gather in the root. The plant never takes the poison up into the flower or the seed or the fruit. So you don't have to worry about, say, if you're picking berries. But if you're digging roots, then you really should know the history of that particular plant. Just like, say, garlic, right? Your garlic, if you really want to make sure that you're not eating any toxins, then it really should be organically grown. because the plant will store that toxins in the root. So what my teacher, Don Olson, with Grassroot Herbalisms reminds us is that whoever's growing abundantly around us is most likely our food or our medicine. So really we want to be curious. We want to observe. We want to ask those questions. And how might this plant actually be helping us to live a long life?